champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Wesley, things are already looking up. You want to know why? McDaniels had his first miss.
There it is.
Of the game. 6 of 7. Count the bucket. A tough two to get. Giannis with a message to the five-star fans who are displeased with this team's efforts in the first time. It's Rainbow's third personal.
High noon and welcome in. This is the Mason Crosby Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. My name's Mitch Nellis. His name's Tommy Wirtz. It's a Human Wednesday. You know what that means. And you know who needs a Human Wednesday? You know who needs a Human Wednesday? Hold on. Let's look up. Let's go to Wikipedia. I want to get the whole name right. I don't want to get this. Wiki Giannis. I hit enter. Giannis Sina Uguko Antetokounmpo.
Nailed it.
Yeah, definitely nailed it. Giannis could use a Human Wednesday, which I assume he's having. I assume he's having because they don't play again until do they play Thursday or Friday?
It did feel like yesterday.
Love when that happens. Hit the mouse. Hit the mouse, everybody. Van Halen just wanted to be part of the show.
It did feel like yesterday we were in the middle of watching Giannis crash out on the city of Milwaukee.
Little bit. So we'll get to that. We've got a lot going on today. Andy Herman at 1:00. His last official visit of the season, as the Packers season is now over. The Wisconsin Badgers with a banger last night.
Bang.
So we will get to that. The Marquette Golden Eagles with a little bit less of a banger, kind of a dud last night. If we're going to be honest, kind of a dud of a season so far for the Golden Eagle. But we do want to start with our favorite Greek Nigerian, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who we know last week, I don't know, it was 10 days ago or so, talked about how he does not want to trade.
Mm-hmm.
He's never requested a trade and never will request a trade. And then last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have Anthony Edwards, who I would say, I don't think he's a top 5 player in the league.
No,
I think he's somewhere 6 to 10 probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think he's top 5, but he's very good.
Very good player.
On the Olympic team, makes the All-Star team every year. He was not playing last night. Rudy Gobert, who is generally recognized as one of the top 10, if not one of the top 3 defensive players.
Yep.
Not overall, not worth the draft picks the Timberwolves gave up to the Jazz for him, but absolutely a dominant force around the basket defensively. He not playing last night. And it made me think, I played some underdog last night, and I had Giannis for a double-double. Because I figured, like, without Rudy Gobert, Giannis is going to rebound. He's going to get his rebounds. This should be easy. Like, this should be an easy double-double night for Giannis. And then the Bucks went down by, like, 20 in the first quarter. And they were down by 31.
Yep, tied for the largest deficit at half this season.
76 to 45. They gave up 38 points apiece in the first and second quarter. It was 76 to 45. And the Boo Birds came out.
Yep.
The Boo Birds came out. I think the Boo Birds also came out because not dissimilarly, Sunday night, the Bucks played in Denver, where Nikola Jokic didn't play and Jamal Murray didn't play. Christian Braun didn't play. 4 of their 5 opening day starters did not play, plus their backup center. 6 of their top 7 guys in their rotation to start the season did not play in this game. And the Bucks battled back in this one, but ended up losing by 4, I think. think it was 108, 104, something like that.
In Denver, yeah.
In Denver. And so not having the legs in Denver, which happens, and then not having the legs last night, 2 days later, against an undermanned but certainly full of vim and vigor and passion Minnesota Timberwolves team. The Boo Birds came out at Fiserv last night. I have my 10-pack. I had tickets for last night. I put them up for sale on Facebook. I had no takers. I did not end up going to the game. I probably should have just sold them on air. I probably should have just raffled them off, like highest bidder goes, and we'll donate the money to the MAC Fund or something like that. Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer, or Children's Wisconsin. Very good causes that we love here at the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. But the Boo Birds were out. So first of all, I want to know, 414-677-1250, do you boo your home team? And you can send in a text. You can do this on text. You can call. You could talk about it. This is one of those big picture fandom moments. Do you boo your team at home? If the Packers are down 21, now the Packers are more likely to be up 21-0 and then blow the lead than to be down 21-0 to a bad team.
Yeah.
But if you were at the Panthers game this year, did you boo the Green Bay Packers? If the Brewers blow a 7-0 lead to the Pittsburgh Pirates at home, are you booing the Brewers that day? Not for the rest of your life, but that day. If the Bucks come out and literally show zero effort at a game where you've paid a couple hundred dollars to go to, you've spent your hard-earned money, which is a lot more percentage-wise than whatever the Bucks players are spending on anything right now. Do you boo your home team?
Kind of feels like this whole week we've been booing Green Bay, right, at this point. So I think that the argument of should you be able to boo your home team, like, of course you should be able to. And this is, it does feel like, however, we are entering into uncharted waters with booing and the Bucks and Giannis right now compared to what we've seen from the Packers or the Brewers over the last little bit of time, because the Packers have these crazy expectations, which they earned and they should have.
Right.
And if you're not going for it on a fourth down that you want to, or you're walking off at halftime and haven't scored no points, like that happens all the time in professional football, right?
Yep.
You get booed in there.
Yeah.
With the Brewers, you think of it as when their bats go quiet through 7 innings, right?
Sure.
Or through 8 innings and they're losing 6-0 to the Dodgers at that point.
Joey Ortiz,
right.
Pops out with the bases loaded.
Do you remember, this is one of my most iconic memories, was it like 2 or 3 years ago now when they're playing the Diamondbacks in the postseason and Craig decides to pinch hit Jesse Winker?
Yeah, of course.
That was just brutal. The most warranted boo of all time I can remember in Wisconsin sports.
Dude, had done nothing, had been hurt for a lot of
the year. Made the playoff roster over Garrett Mitchell.
Right, should have not have been on the roster.
Right,
yes,
right.
Thank you.
But we haven't seen this with Bucks basketball since like the championship, run, somewhere in that range, really. Like the expectation's always high, but the booing of Giannis specifically,
right,
it felt like, because he had missed the free throws at the end of half too. That's kind of how they went into it booing.
Yeah.
Like that is something that Giannis maybe hasn't really been accustomed to this point so far, Mitch.
Right. I don't think that, and I would tell this to Giannis's face, like, yes, there's probably some frustration with him missing the free throws, but the booing was the overall effort in the first half.
Yeah.
The booing was 76-45. And yes, it's frustrating to add that cherry on the top of the sundae that he missed those free throws, but it's not that people are booing you specifically. And there needs to be a way that when you're making $55 million a year, that you're not taking this personally. This is your job. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be showing effort. And you, Giannis, as the leader of this team, need to lead that team with that effort.
And even like the leader of effort for star players in the NBA, right? It's a league that already gets criticized for effort, and Giannis is the anti-no effort guy, right? Where it's just one speed and no days off, but less time on the court instead. Like, he's all about the availability and the effort
That's
and
right.
the attitude that we talk about on this show all the time. From the 414, that's what New York and Philly fans do. And what's the stereotype behind those fan bases? But I think they were booing Doc. And if yesterday, I can say this much. Yesterday was not the first time I've booed Doc Rivers. I think the signing happened and we were booing Doc Rivers.
Booing, I was booing it immediately. I wasn't necessarily booing getting rid of Adrian Griffin. I didn't understand everything that went on there. But the fact that they hired Doc, I was booing it from day one. And a lot of us have been. 262 says if their play is worthy of being booed, then they should be booed. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law talk and text line. Do you boo your team? 715 comes in. Booing your own team shows you're still engaged in care. As a Cowboys fan in Wausau, I stopped caring either way a few years ago. I think a fan's indifference is worse than booing. I will agree with that. And I will also say that that is very Vince McMahon. When a wrestler's music hits in the WWE and they get cheered, it's great. When they get booed, it's great. The worst thing that happens is when there's no reaction to it. Exactly what 715 says. When there's apathy, when there's indifference. Bucks fans care. Okay?
Yeah.
Packers fans care. Brewers fans care. I think that's, at the 414 saying that's what New York and Philly fans do. I think Wisconsin fans, if you pay your hard-earned money, and who did we have? Let's see, we had somebody on the YouTube channel. Let me I got 7 mouses back here.
I know.
Mice. What do I have back here?
Mouses.
Mices. Let's see. Let's go right here. Tim says, hey, I'll put this like when regular Joes or whoever pay out good money to see a product and it's crap. You can say crap. Sorry, man, that's unacceptable. These guys are getting paid good money. And I don't even know if it's about the money. Like, part of it is because there's such a discrepancy in our society these days about the money. But to me, it's about the effort. Man, I went to a girls' middle school game yesterday, and it was 37-8. Okay? And I was cheering for the team that scored 8.
Did you?
And they are not good. Okay? They are not good. But you know what they did the only time I got upset is if I saw somebody walking.
Yeah.
And not, because 98% of the game yesterday, they were running up and down the court. They didn't know where they were going. I mean, it was their first game ever for most of these girls. And so they didn't really know where they were going, but they were trying to stick with their person on defense. They were trying to get a rebound. They took some shots. Like, they were playing with effort. They were just, the other team knew how to make a basket and was better, but they played with effort. And I think that's the issue that we ran into last night. And I know Giannis played with effort. And I want to get into Giannis's brain right now.
Oh, do you want to hear what Giannis had to say about booing? Maybe?
Yeah, but I actually want to get into his brain for something else.
Oh.
But let's get into his brain about what he said about booing, and then we'll get into his brain about effort.
Here's Giannis. At some point here.
When I get booed, I boo back. When people don't believe in me, I don't tend to be with them. I tend to be against them. It doesn't matter if I'm at home or away. I've never been a part of something like that before, and I don't think it's fair. Everybody has the opinion to do what they want to do. I'm not going to tell them what to do and how to act when we don't play hard or when we lose games or where we not where we're supposed to be. And I don't think anybody has the right to tell me how I should act on the basketball court after I've been here 13 years. And I'm basically the all-time leader in everything.
So I had not heard that whole quote. I'd trade him today. Like, you suck,
dude.
What? Like Giannis, you're. If this is your mindset, you're not my guy. Okay, because to not understand that the fans are booing the total team effort and the head coach and the ownership group. to take it so personally that you think the fans are booing you shows how clueless you are. And that makes me sad because I don't think Giannis is stupid. I don't think he's clueless. Well, no, that's not true. I probably do think he's clueless. I do think he's a little clueless. I don't think he's dumb. I don't think he's stupid, but that's an embarrassing quote.
Yes.
That is embarrassing to think that this is about you. This isn't about you, bro. This is about the team. This is about the full team's effort. And we can look at the plus minuses from last night, and they will clearly show that Giannis and AJ Green were the two players who showed up to play hard last night. That was it. That was literally it. And maybe it's not playing hard. Maybe it's actual talent. Maybe without Giannis on this court, this team really is this bad. This team really is this horrible. This team really is this embarrassing. But for Giannis to not get that, and did he throw out at the end that he's the all-time leader?
Yeah, it faded off at the end there. But yeah,
how embarrassing to bring that up. Like that's relevant in any way to your team's effort last night. Like to disrespect the fans that wildly and with such abandon of any sense of decency. I can't comprehend. Can we hear that one more time, Tommy? You still got that?
Yeah,
up?
I got it right here.
Let's hear it one more time.
When I get booed, I boo back. When people don't believe in me, I don't tend to be with them. I tend to be against them.
Stop it. So I don't think it's about people not believing in you, bro. Like that's where you're already broken when it comes to this comment. That's where you're already off base and have no idea what you're talking about. And I wish that the reporters had pushed back. And I don't know what the follow-up was there. Like it's easy for TV to just put clips and to just put not the whole thing out there. But I do wonder, I guess you don't want to interrupt him, but I would have followed up and said, hey, Giannis, this wasn't about people booing you. This is about people booing the team's effort and the frustration that the fan base has with the head coach and the frustration that the fan base has with the new owner who came in, who is notorious for running a horrible franchise in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And people are worried that that is what is going to happen here in Milwaukee. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law talk and text line. Al's in Cedarburg. Hopefully he got his daughter dropped off at daycare and his phone won't drop off today. Al, what do you got for us, brother?
No daycare drop off. How's it going, fellas?
It's going okay, I think. I'm not really sure, though.
Yeah, me either. But Giannis is acting like a real Richard. And, he almost reminds me of Hulk Hogan when he turned to NWO. Like, he's making himself into the villain. And it's kind of sad to see him be this childish because, Mitch, you said that he played hard. And, he does. But if you really look at over the last 3 years, and I think this speaks to the coaches voting the way that they do, Giannis has not been playing that hard a defense for about 3 years, and it shows on the floor. He is nowhere near the aggressive player that he was.
He picks and chooses a lot more than he used to. I'll give you that.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, that's a really good way of saying it. But I think, and you really hit it on the head, Thunder, it's almost disrespectful, for him to say something like that and extremely just out of touch with what was going on. It's a selfish mindset. And you guys didn't touch on this, but the question before was because Giannis was talking about the booing, and he said to the reporter, do you not watch, the games? I boo on the road. And, the follow-up question was, yeah, but this was at home.
Right.
And so they really the fact that Giannis couldn't distinguish the difference in that question, I think he is clueless. But also, I really just think he hates where he is right now. And I think we got to move on from him. So, I'm interested to see what you guys think about that.
All right, Al, thanks for the call. I don't think he hates where he is in terms of being on the Bucks.
Right.
I think he hates this team.
No, and I think that that's a good point, and
specifically the players on this team, because again, he was a -11 last night in 31 minutes. That means in the other 17 minutes of the game, the team was minus 23 out of 22.
Not good either way. I do think that I want to not take Giannis's side on this, but I have something where I'm trying to relate it back to something that I can relate to with Giannis on this story.
Okay.
And so I think of it as, Mitch, we work in an industry in which we're never going to have 100% agreement already with us, right? You have a take, people like it, people don't like it. And ultimately, you're going to receive criticism for what you say on the air at any given time.
Sure.
And Giannis's goal, he had talked about his teammates and about how he wants to be perceived by the men in the locker room and how he plays with those guys more so than he is maybe caring about what fans might say. And it's something that in this industry, I think we have to also recognize that, quite frankly, I would much rather be known as a fantastic worker and radio personality from my peers in the industry and from the people in the building with me, and know that I'm reliable, available, whatever it might be. And the perception of those, not that I want to discredit what fans say or anything along those lines, but that's something that, you know, warms your heart a little more when it's someone that you're working with and dealing with on a daily basis, as opposed to someone who is seeing you every once in a while when you're on a basketball court or listening to a clip that might go out about the station. So,
all right. So I actually have a follow-up to that, Tommy.
Yeah.
So I just came down on Giannis for taking it too personally.
Yeah.
When saying it wasn't personal. I might be taking what he said too personally as a fan, when you're right. He might be thinking that, like, I need to have the backs of my guys. And while I want the fans on my side, that's not my number one priority. My number one priority is getting this 17-23 team into the playoffs. And so if I am calculated in what I'm saying right now gets us closer to being that team, I'm willing to be the bad guy with the crowd for a little while.
Well, at least that's the priority, it looks like right now. And don't get me wrong, Giannis probably just be the bigger man. You know, you're the guy making $60 million a year to play basketball. Like, I get it. I'm not in this boat of shut up and dribble like they were saying to people, but but also understanding that if that is your priority, then you have to ignore the outside noise, as opposed to react to it and then give a different perception of how you feel about it.
I got to think about this. Brian's in Bayview. Brian, you're next up on the Mason Crosby Show. No Mason today. It's a Human Wednesday. You got Thunder and Tommy.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I wasn't at the game, and I didn't watch it on TV. I was just listening to the show.
Yep.
But didn't you say that they booed him when he was at the line?
So at the end of the first half, he missed 2 free throws, and then the half ended, and the crowd booed.
Yeah, that was after.
They did not boo him while he was at the line.
Oh, they didn't. I thought you said he did, because if that was the case, with the frustration of the game and them possibly booing him at the line, it played into his thought process.
Well, they booed him after he missed the free throws because it was the end of the half.
He missed the free throws with 2.7 seconds left.
Right.
The Timberwolves got the rebound. So the booing started when he missed the second free throw, knowing that the half was going to end.
And that's never happened before in Milwaukee?
What?
That's never happened before in Milwaukee when he was at the line and he missed?
We've heard grumbles. I think last night, because it happened right before the half, I think it was a bigger booing than we typically hear that could be perceived as specifically at Giannis. Again, I don't think that booing was specifically at Giannis. I do believe the booing that he was part of it because he was at the line and they were down by 31 points at the half.
You know what? I see things the way you do, but in his mind, his thought process, it might have played into it that they were booing him.
That's a good point. I would think he's smarter than that, but you make a great point, Brian. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. I know we got a bunch of people on hold. We've got a bunch of texts to get to, and people are writing in on the YouTube channel. Keep it coming. You all are next right here on the Mason Crosby Show. It's with Thunder and Tommy today on a Human Wednesday, presented by Verizon. Man, 1983. Tommy.
Hell of a year.
Hell of a year. When
Brewers just coming off the World Series year.
Yeah.
We all remember that. Win streak.
I know this is the banger from Jay Giles' band, but Freeze Frame was always my favorite.
1983 was the year of the streak, right? That was the first one where they won their first.
No, 87.
It was 87 when they did it?
87 was when they won 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Magic like casual
Magic Miracle and True Believers. I have the VHS tape if you ever want to watch that.
What's a VHS tape?
They then lost 12 in a row in May, so that was great. They could not hit.
One game over 500.
They could not hit in May. That was embarrassing. This is, I'm sure Tim Allen remembers all that.
Yeah.
This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Tommy's here as well. Exciting news, and it starts tonight.
Big day.
Tommy's been hosting Wisconsin Daily Wrap-Up.
Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up.
Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. But I wasn't wrong, though. Like, same concept.
Sure, yeah.
Yep. But today, instead, we've got a brand new show that's debuting this evening. You will absolutely love it. Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz talk about two fonts of knowledge. One more seasoned, one less seasoned. They bring their seasoning together for the perfect mix. They will be hosting Hot Stove Weekly tonight and every Wednesday night from 5 to 7 right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Cannot wait. We are talking about this guy.
When I get booed, I boo back. When people don't believe in me, I don't tend to be with them. I tend to be against them. It doesn't matter if I'm at home or away. I've never been a part of something like that before, and I don't think it's fair. Everyone has the opinion to do what they want to do. I'm not going to tell them what to do and how to act when we don't play hard or when we lose games or where we not where we're supposed to be. And I don't think anybody has the right to tell me how I should act on the basketball court after I've been here 13 years and I'm basically the all-time leader in everything.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the pomposity there at the end is just
right?
like is a little next level, bro.
Like all of a sudden, I'm interested in Zach LaVine.
Right, yeah. So I'm not interested in him, but I'm interested in a whole host of guys.
Oh, gosh.
Man, I don't think anyone can tell me anything on the basketball court. Man, we're all learning every day. Like, I with all due respect, Giannis, I've been doing this radio thing for a lot more than 13 years. And if somebody comes up to me today with some good advice, with some feedback, guess what? I'm going to learn. I'm going to open my ears. I'm going to pay attention. I'm not going to shout them down. Even if they've never been on the radio before, guess what? They're still entitled to their opinion. They're still allowed to have their opinion. For Giannis to disrespect the fans like that, man,
But he's the all-time leader in everything.
Right.
So, he's the all-time leader. So shut up and talk.
I'm shut up and don't talk. I'm not. I don't know. I don't feel good about this. I don't like. I'm sure he did not feel good last night. I'm sure he felt that he specifically was booed after missing those two free throws with 2.7 seconds left in the first half. And then the team goes into the locker room. And listen, that's a valid feeling that he can have. But as a team, they deserve to be booed. Tim says, all I can hear is Josh Albrecht saying, don't tell me how to fan. Right. Giannis, don't tell me how to fan. Like, I just paid money to come to this game.
Well,
I can fan how I want to fan.
And then from the 414, since Giannis is the Bucks, when the Bucks get booed, he feels they are booing him. I need to hear his answer to the idea, to that response, to the performance of the Bucks as a whole can be levied without including him. Then if he says something, as long as he is on the court, he doesn't want to get booed, I'd be able to imply something more specific.
All right, let's go to Ron in Rome. Rome, you are next on the Mason Crosby Show. No Mason on a Human Wednesday, but you've got Tommy and Thunder.
Hey, congratulations to Tommy on co-hosting with Tim Allen. You can learn a lot from him, and you can pick up a lot of stuff, but don't pick up smoking cigarettes.
Ron, I think that was perfectly said. I'm so excited for Tommy. What an opportunity.
Yeah, it's really going to be great. I love the post-game show.
Yep.
The reason I call is I'm an old man, and I know that men tend to say stupid things when they're angry. And I think that with all the intense social media and the being able, like I'm streaming you guys, I used to not listen to sports shows because there was nothing good in Central Wisconsin.
Sure.
There's so much attention to everything now. I tend not to put a lot of weight on stupid things that Aaron Rodgers or Giannis says after games, because these are very competitive people. They would never be where they are if they weren't. Aaron Rodgers had an emotional possible ending to his career, and then people are, mad at him because he was irritable. He just probably ended the most important thing to him in his life. And so I tend to give him a little slack. And there was a famous rabbi that said that you shouldn't counsel people in the hour of their sorrow or in their hour of their greatest degradation. And that's good advice for, back off of people when something bad happens. Give them a little time to calm down before you approach them.
Ron, that's very similar to what we talk about in this world of social media. Whenever something makes you really mad, give it an hour, give it 10 minutes, give it an hour, give it 24 hours before you hit reply, right? I want to hear what Giannis says today, because I'll bet Giannis's answer to that question today is very different than what he said last night. I'd like to
hear what he says, but I don't really want to hear what his public relations agent says in his mouth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Ron, that is a great point. Thanks for the call. Ron drops off. You can be next, 414-677-1250. I like this one for the 715. Giannis is trying to Montreal screw job his way out of Milwaukee. He said he won't ask for a trade, but he can alienate management enough to trade him and have them say Giannis did it to himself on the way out and potentially gets what he wants.
Yeah, but again,
I like that. But I like that drama on that concept. I don't necessarily believe it, but I think that's a funny, fun take.
We saw this coming months ago. Yeah. We brought this up on this show where it felt like Giannis, you are going to sabotage your perception in Milwaukee if you keep acting like this. Don't get me wrong, it probably would re-heal itself after being gone for as much as it is. Look at what happened with Favre and with Aaron when both of them kind of left on a sour note, but now everyone's would love to welcome them back into the community and the organization. But it's feeling very similar to what Giannis is doing right now with the Milwaukee Bucks, where all of his teammates have nothing but good things to say about him, and his coach has nothing but good things to say about him, and the public perception is developing their own ideas on the athlete and the player, and they don't care, the athlete. They don't care as much as you think they care about how you feel about them.
And I don't think anybody has the right to tell me how I should act on the basketball court after I've been here 13 years, and I'm basically the all-time leader in everything.
Basically, the all-time leader in everything.
I hope Giannis. I need to bait Giannis into saying something about cut a hay, and then I can just be like, "You can't tell me how to cut a hay, bro."
I just want Mason once a week to be like, "You can't tell me about the Packers. I'm the all-time leading scorer."
Oh God! Imagine if we worked with that tool.
Right,
yeah.
Right, exactly. We do not. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Roby is on the west side of Milwaukee. Roby, you are next up on the Mason Crosby Show.
Hey, I'm happy I'm following the last caller.
Okay.
I'm going to start with that. I say we have. I hope I say it right. I think we have to give him a little grace.
Okay.
Giannis is a human being. At the end of the day, I understand the boos. For me, the boos are because the product stinks.
Yeah.
Yes, Giannis is part of the product, right? And just like NFL, when the team fails, we kind of tend to put that weight on the quarterback. So yeah, a lot of this falls on a lot of the responsibility falls on Giannis. Mm-hmm. But I want to change that narrative though, guys, and
okay.
I want you to really. I really hope that you can hear me on this. I believe the Bucks has failed Giannis, and this is why I'm going to say it. I've never been a fan of Doc Rivers. There's never been. Can we discuss the veteran leadership to groom this man? Giannis is learning on the fly. Giannis is there's still a lot to his game that he still needs to learn. And for me, watching the game, offensively, defensively, the scheme is just It's poor. So I think Doc Rivers is, I hate to change the narrative, but I feel like we're so focused on Giannis that we're really missing that you got a veteran coach that should be bringing the best out of this guy who, again, Giannis, if Doc, that comment that Giannis made last night it defines that coach is not, there is no transparency with Doc Rivers and Giannis.
So Roby, give me 1 second, okay? Because I agree with everything you just said. And I just wanted to be clear that today we are talking about Giannis, but we've been talking about Doc for 2 years. We've been talking about how Doc is not the right guy for this job for 2 years.
From day one.
We've been booing Doc Rivers for 2 years. So yes, I agree that today we're a little upset with Giannis's comments, and I love the idea of extending some grace to him. Although I would throw back to him, you've been in the league for 13 years. You should know a little bit better at this point than to come after the fans. But I agree with you that the real venom we have as Bucks fans is for Doc Rivers, is for Jimmy Haslam, is for the way they are running this organization.
Well, and I think that Roby, we've given so much grace to Giannis over the years, and so whether it's decisions on the roster, decisions on coaching, this season on the trade rumors that continue to happen, like grace has been the definition of this city with Giannis, it feels like right now. And when it's not reciprocated, like expect a different result, right?
Right. I agree with you saying, but I look at the team as we lack a certain IQ on that team. You think about when we had Drew Holiday, some of those guys, Chris Middleton, we don't have that. And right. I know we're talking about trades and all of that, but when you don't have that, I believe coaching has to step into place. And I get he's been in the league for 13 years, but the whole league is treat Giannis. They don't give him the respect that he deserves. So I could just think of that weight that one man is carrying. You're playing on a team that the coach ain't changing anything. Now your fans is not believing in you. You start saying some stupid stuff. So for me, like I would love to continue to have him, and I understand if we need to trade him, but I just feel like given everything that's happened, and I hate to be that guy to be like, give him a little grace because he's been in the league for so long. But I just think when you're not groomed right, you're bound to make some mistakes. And I think the Bucks have failed him because from a coaching standpoint, Doc Rivers doesn't have hold these guys accountable. They brought in Darvin Ham, and Darvin Ham does he say anything? I see no energy out of none of that coaching staff holding these guys accountable, playing defense. We all know the offense is ran in one fashion, top of the key pick and roll. We need to change that. Come on, man. The defense is as a fan, I was a season ticket holder for 10 years. I don't care about being in the Pfizer Forum at all right now.
Yeah,
I am not in a rush. I am not in a rush because the product stinks.
Yeah, Roby, I hear you. I'm right there with you. I was a season ticket holder for 7 years. This year I'm down to a 10-pack, and I'm very much wavering about whether I'm going to buy any tickets at all next year. Thanks so much for the call. 414-677-1250. Reminder, Andy Herman at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. Q, I see your comments on YouTube. I know what you're saying, but trust me, Brett Favre was booed a ton and hated in Wisconsin for his actions. This is not a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, good old boy situation where Giannis is not a good old boy with Wisconsinites quite yet. We know he made the Bucks relevant for the first time in 50 years. We love Giannis. That's why these comments hurt so much. If we didn't care about Giannis, if we didn't like Giannis, these comments wouldn't hurt. These comments hurt because we love him with all our heart and all our soul and what he's given to us and what we've given back to him. That love is true and that love is real. And so it hurts when he has those types of comments, when he basically tells everybody to shut up and we're all idiots. That doesn't feel good.
I wonder how many athletes in the state could say something like that and not be seen as a total ass.
Right, and I think
if Jordan Love made a comment like that, I mean, he'd just be eviscerated. Yes. It would absolutely be torn up. If Christian Yelich made a comment like that, Brewers fans would freak out, right?
They would, but I also wonder, like what if Jordan Love, if the Packers, again, have if they're 3-8 next year, and he throws an interception to end a half, and the crowd at Lambeau just goes nuts, and he comes out and says, "Hey, we've been to the playoffs the past 3 years. Like, people shouldn't be talking about what I'm doing on the field." Like, he'll get ripped, but I think there's still like that Packer love that the Bucs don't get.
Maybe, but I still
not Jordan
think that,
Love specific, organization wise, and I don't know that the Packers.
I think actually even with Yelich, they would argue they would throw it back at Mark A. Right? So then maybe Yelich would have some respect behind it. But I could just imagine if Jordan Love had said like I'm the all-time leader over the last 4 years in Packer stats, like.
That's a weird flex. I think we can all agree on that. 414-677-1250. Interestingly, Thunder Watch is next. We'll see if we can sneak in a quick Thunder Watch here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. This is the Mason Crosby Show. My name's Mitch Nellis. His name's Tommy Wirtz. Andy Herman in less than 10 minutes to wrap up the Packers season. I want to hear all his grades from the Packers-Bears game, who he thought actually passed in that game. Jordan Love passed in that game.
Andy Herman's been about as negative as Andy Herman ever has been in his life.
How can you not
be? So he's real right now. Everyone who thinks he's all in on, like, I love the Packers always 100%.
And he does, but he can also tell the truth.
He's telling the truth.
All right, Thunder Watch. What do we got, Tommy?
Thunder Watch as of late here. Last time when we were out, we still have our usuals on there. Luke Fickell, Doc Rivers, Chris McIntosh, Shaka Smart. Giannis got added last couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And Bo Melton was the most recent one.
We can take Bo Melton off because he's not relevant enough. Let's put Rashawn Gary back on. Just want to see what's going to happen with him in the offseason. He'll stay on there until he gets cut.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else? Obviously, there's a whole bunch of
Nixon.
I don't need.
Rich Bisaccia.
No.
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur's on Thunder Watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Glad we got there.
And then does that mean Ed Policy is also on Thunder Watch?
I would almost say he has to be on before Matt LaFleur has to be on now.
I think Ed Policy let's not put Matt LaFleur on.
Okay.
Let's put Ed Policy on.
All right. I like that.
Yeah. So that's so we're keeping Giannis on. We're adding Ed Policy and we're adding Rashawn Gary. Yeah.
I got you.
I think that's it for now. Trying to think. I feel like on the positive end of things, like Doug Gottlieb's done a nice job since retiring from radio.
Should be the next coach of the Bucks.
Man, you should be the next coach of the Bucks, Tommy. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Tommy Wirtz is here as well. Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast. He's the absolute best. He is going to join us next. The Mason Crosby Show. No Mason on a Wednesday. It's a human Wednesday. The Mason Crosby Show is presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Hi, Tim.
It's time to talk about the Pack with Andy Herman of the Pack-A-Day podcast on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Presented by Verizon, the official 5G provider of the Green Bay Packers on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Hey, my name's Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz rocking the violin back. Was that the violin?
It was a viola. You were supposed to know the difference.
God, I'm so dumb. It's like I didn't even work for the symphony for a year.
My hand was in closer. Right, it's more of a thick viola.
It's my bad. All right. We're going to take a deep breath. By the way, I read some more comments from Giannis, which basically says like everything that we talked about. Like says we didn't play with effort. Doc made an excuse that they didn't have legs, and Giannis said, no, we can never use that as an excuse. We had our legs. We just didn't play with the right effort and energy tonight. So it's like, if you didn't play with the right effort and energy, then you're going to get booed as a team. Like, that's okay. That's part of being a professional athlete. But we'll get more into that another time because this is his time. Down here, this is our time. It's our time with Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast. Hi, Andy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, fellas. How are you doing? The Giannis thing is crazy. We'll talk Packers, I'm sure, but yeah, it's a crazy situation.
What's your thought on it before we talk Packers then, Andy? Because he's telling everyone basically, how to be a fan, which is a super big thing.
Know your role and shut your mouth
for the morning show. Yeah, and what's your reaction to it, Andy?
Yeah, Giannis is in his heel turn era. I appreciate it. I respect it. He's just shutting out the noise and doing whatever he wants. I think it's tone deaf by Giannis. And again, I will preface this by saying I love Giannis to death. He's always going to be one of my favorites, but I think it's tone deaf to think that anybody is booing him. And I think almost the interesting thing is I think Bucks fans are almost internalizing their anger for Giannis. They're almost doing it for him. They're feeling his pain of the moment of like, this is so crappy that this dude has to go through this situation in Milwaukee, that there's not competent coaching, there's not competent players, there's not competent defense, there's not competent anything. And a top whatever player in the world, top four top four player in the world has to go through this after winning Milwaukee a championship, MVPs, etc. I think that part is crazy. And then I just think this entire charade of everything in Milwaukee is just so beyond ridiculous in the fact that you obviously have a coach that is no longer capable of coaching for a while now, but certainly in the year 2026. You have a star player that has no avenue over the next however long he plays to winning a championship in Milwaukee. And you have no avenue to winning a championship with the current structure and setup that you have. And trying to dump more money into this thing to go get a Zach LaVine or a John Morant or enter any other player that isn't playing Michael Porter Jr., which is probably the best of the options, by the way. But even still, it's a Band-Aid on a fatal wound. And it's going to buy you like a millisecond of extra time. And you're going to quickly realize, oh, we still didn't actually help anything. When the obvious answer to everybody is to start this thing over from scratch. So
I'll rework the question that I had asked with Mitch here. Andy, if someone on the Packers were to make comments like this, who would get more heat if they made a comment similar to what Giannis is, Jordan Love or Micah Parsons?
Jordan Love. I think there's already like a bizarro Jordan Love situation in Green Bay where fans can't come to the understanding of just how great he is and how amazing he's playing. And like, it almost feels like nationally and other teams' fan bases have a larger reverence and respect for Jordan Love than our own fan base does, which is remarkable. And Micah Parsons seems beyond beloved by everybody. So I think if Micah said it, it might be like the first moment of like, oh, they said, Micah was going to cause some stir some things in the lot and things like that. Maybe that would be like the first of like, oh, he said it. But I think Jordan would get far more for it, especially because he's so quiet.
I have 12 plus sacks in my first 5 years, and almost nobody else has done that. So you all should shut up. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Very
Micah.
similar energy.
Yeah. Andy, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, It's now Wednesday midday, so 3.5 days. 3.5 days later, Andy, what is foremost on your mind with regards to the Saturday night debacle in Chicago?
Yeah, it's an interesting way of putting it. The thing that's foremost on my mind, just in general, is the Matt LaFleur situation, because it's the most impactful.
And that's why I didn't ask that
moment.
first. That was gonna be my follow up.
So
I want to know if there's something specifically from Saturday night that still like specifically vexes you.
Nothing other than the fact that it's just it's another one. It's another playoff game that we had to sit through where you completely crap the bed and in the most important moments, and you have a game one in hand and you completely blow it. And it's another heartbreaking playoff performance that this team, just in general, even pre LaFleur, et cetera, is just gone on far too long, where we have to relive the same Groundhog's Day nightmare over and over and over again come Packers postseason. But as soon as it's done, there is sort of this finality. We're on to 2026. What can this team do to sort of correct its mistakes moving forward, and what's going to happen with Matt LaFleur, et cetera. But no, it's a real, kick in the groin to have that experience again in the postseason. And it's just brutal knowing, all the Bears fans talking smack and everything, that game was right there for you. You had it in hand and you just completely gave it away. And that's just what sucks about it.
All right, so let's flip things back over to the Matt LaFleur conversation. We all woke up. I mean, Tommy and I were on the air Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm sure you've put together hours worth of content since the game, talking about not just the game, but about Matt LaFleur and his future. We all read Adam Schefter's report. Where do you think things are today with Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, specifically Ed Policy?
Yeah, by all accounts, it sounds like just negotiations. Matt wants to be the Packers coach. The Packers want him to be the head coach, but there seems to be a difference in opinion in, I'm sure years, and I'm sure in dollar amount. And this is what I said a while back when people were saying, well, they're going to fire Matt or whatever. I'm like, I didn't ever quite get to the feel of like they were going to fire Matt until the final game. After that, I'm like, yeah, all things are on the table. But I never saw fire Matt up until that point as a realistic situation, but have talked about for a while of, you are very much in this unique scenario of 1 year left on the deal. And the Packers, have said that they don't want to do the lame duck year. And you now end up in this situation where Matt LaFleur understands wholeheartedly, and his agency understands wholeheartedly, that if the Packers don't want him and they decide to go in a different direction, that he is the most, well sought after coach on the market, gets a 4-year, $60+ million deal, gets a fresh coat of paint. His job's not on the line next year. He's the savior of whatever new organization that he goes to, and he gets everything that he wants when he goes somewhere else. And if the Packers are on the flip side going to say, dude, you want a 4-year, $60 million extension? You lost 5 games in a row. You've lost your first round of the playoff games again. You've won one playoff game in your last, 5 years or 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. And like, we're not going to give you a top of the market. You haven't earned a top of the market, or maybe we'll give you 15 mil per year, but you're going to get 2-year extension. And Matt's going to say, no, I can get way better than that on the open market. So you do really end up in this sort of rubber meets the road sort of argument between the two, where Matt knows what he can get on the open market, and the Packers probably don't have the appetite to pay him that based on recent results. And that's where this could ultimately really hit the fan.
Well, and Andy, I want to bring that up is like, first of all, I tend to feel like if it didn't happen yesterday or 2 days ago, like Matt LaFleur, all signs pointing to him being the coach of the Green Bay Packers in 2026 to start the year, correct?
I would go with that assumption as well. And but the big thing I would say here is like, there's no deadline on this, but there's a deadline on this for both sides. And I tweeted this out today for Matt, if things start looking like, okay, Green Bay's not serious here, they're not making me a legitimate offer, like I might start saying, I want out. Like, let me talk to other teams because I have an opportunity elsewhere. It sounds like John Harbaugh is going to be taking one of those jobs in New York either today or tomorrow, whenever that gets finalized. You're now down to 8 coaching jobs. It's still a lot open, but every day that goes on and every time that one of those gets filled, it's one less opportunity for Matt. And on the flip side, for the Packers, if they start recognizing, hey, we can't get this done with Matt, or it's just heading in the wrong direction, every single time a John Harbaugh or a Jeff Hafley or somebody else goes off the board to another team, it's one less candidate that they can vet for their open position. And it's not even just that. It's also that in this interim time, if they do lose a Jeff Hafley, if they lose, if they want to move on from Rich Bisaccia or Adam Stenovich or an offensive line coach, they can't hire their other position coaches because they don't know who their head coach is at the moment. So they're not going to go aggressively to hire one of those. And some of those are going to get started to take off the market as well. So there is, like, to me, I know there's no deadline for like tomorrow for both sides. Like, I would say, like, at latest, I want this done by end of this week, if not by tomorrow, so we can each go in our separate directions if need to, or start getting this finalized for what this coaching staff is going to look like next year.
And you brought up also that if Matt LaFleur was on the open market, he would be one of the most sought after targets for a potential head coach elsewhere. Why, Andy? Because it feels like that's an over-exaggeration of his work in Green Bay, especially post Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you know, he's the 69th most wins in coaching history. He's had stability in Green Bay, making the playoffs in all but 1 year. And even the 1 year he didn't make the playoffs, they went 8-9. And of the 69 coaches that have the most wins in NFL history, he's top 10 in winning percentage amongst those top 69 coaches in NFL history. And we in Green Bay look at this of, hey, if we're not winning playoff games and getting to the Super Bowl, what's going on here? And other organizations have been so inept that some of them are decades without a playoff appearance. So you get a head coach in Matt that can bring stability to your organization, that gets you to the playoffs arguably every year, that can take a Malik Willis and win football games. Yeah, that is a totally different connotation than maybe the viewpoint that we're looking at it through. And the other thing I will say too is, like, he has extremely his extreme connections throughout this league, including now in Miami, where the general manager is, obviously just came from Green Bay. He's got connections in Atlanta from his time in Atlanta. He's got connections in Tennessee from his time in Tennessee. Like, he has connections all over the place here that would make him, again, I think, a really good fit in multiple spots. And the other thing on top of it is, it's a very poor class of coaches and I mean, coaches that are out there available to be hired, which I think also adds to Matt's value. So I just think overall he becomes, again, a no-brainer, top 2, 3, I think top 1 candidate that's available in this market if he becomes available.
With that as the background for Matt LaFleur, Andy Herman joining the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. How do we rectify or how do we analyze 13-3, 13-3, 13-4? Two-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. Then Rodgers hurt, 8-9, 9-8, 11-6, 9-7-1. This really does seem to be the tale of two separate universes that Matt LaFleur has coached in, and with even with saying that, like, yes, he brings stability because he's been here for 7 years. Like, what leads us to believe he's anything more than a just barely above 500 coach, unless he's got one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the league on his team?
Yeah, there's plenty of criticism to go around. And I certainly made the case for why, potentially you want to go away from Matt LaFleur, and maybe why, to maybe Tommy's point, that some of these arguments maybe don't hold up as much. Yes, you have the playoff appearances, but he's got 3 wins in his 6 playoff appearances combined. They finished the season 9-8-1 this year. You have 1 playoff win in the last 5 years combined. In his last 21 games, he's 9-11-1. So he's 2 games below 500 in his last 21. In his last 74, which is not exactly an insignificant period of time, he's 38-35-1. So he's 3 games above 500 in his last
coach. He's a 500 coach without Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's not good enough in Green Bay. Ray Rhodes got fired for going 500.
Fair enough. And then in his last 15 games against playoff teams, he's 4-11. So he's 7 games below 500 against good teams over his last 15. He's never won more than 1 postseason game in any season. Hasn't won the division since 2021. There's a lot of things. You also have these no-show games every single year. where the first year you lost 26-11 to the Chargers in a no-show game, 37-8 to San Fran, 38-10 to Tampa, 38-3 to New Orleans on a neutral site game in the home opener, 23-7 against the Vikings in a home opener, 27-10 lost to the Jets. That was coming off an international game, but still you had the Tommy DeVito game, lost 13-10 to the Browns this year, 41-24 to Baltimore. So yeah, there's plenty of reasons. Now, again, I still think what you have to do is look at this from a season by season standpoint. And people may disagree with how I'm going to characterize these. His first year in Green Bay, 2019, I think was a resounding success. Like not a ton of expectations, phenomenal year, overachieved, NFC championship game. Yeah, championship game, right?
Well,
yeah,
that was the brutal loss to San Francisco.
49ers. Yeah, Monster went crazy. Yes, but NFC championship game, well ahead of schedule. 2020, unbelievable team. Aaron Rodgers plays out of his mind. NFC championship game. I would argue that the losses there weren't on Matt. You have a Kevin King play. You've got an Aaron Jones fumble. You've got David Bakhtiari injury.
So Andy, the Kevin King play is on Matt LaFleur. We have inside information that Matt LaFleur changed that call before the play and was responsible for that play.
And that Mike Pettin almost quit on site when it happened.
Yeah.
Is that a true story? I never heard that story.
True story.
I don't know if we're allowed to share that. That might not be our story to share. So we'll talk offline.
Interesting. Okay, so there's that. Then 2021, you obviously have the really strong season, massively disappointing playoff game. No question about it. Probably disappointing in the end because of the playoff game. I think that's fair. 2022, I would argue, was dead on arrival. They tried to keep that team together 1 year too long. And I just don't ever think that season was going to work no matter what. But if you want to put it on Matt and say disappointing, okay, I'm fine with that. 2023 was a resounding success, and being able to get to the playoffs in the first year with Jordan, youngest team by far. These were babies playing on this team for the most part. There's no Xavier McKinney or Josh Jacobs there yet. And you have a really strong season. 2024 season goes well until the end, and you completely crap the bed at the end. First round loss to Philly. It ends poorly. And then this year, again, it depends. Your mileage may vary on how much you want to say was injury related or not injury related. I think the ultimate end of this for me, and we can obviously keep talking about it, but there is nuance on both sides. And if you want to, as I just did, put together an argument, and there's about 20 more points I have if we wanted to go over them, of why you want to move on from Matt LaFleur, I wholeheartedly understand it. And I can get on board, and I can recognize why you'd want to do that. I also think that Matt's been, I think, a successful head coach. I don't think he gets the credit for what he did, taking Aaron Rodgers led team that was really, really struggling in the years before Matt got here, and getting him back playing at an MVP level, and that team playing the way that it did. So I do think there's nuance on both sides, and I'm not trying to just both sides this, but I can see both. And whatever Green Bay decides to do, if they bring back Matt, I'll say, all right, like there's the pressure, like nuclear level pressure on his seat going into this year to have success with this team. And that's a lot of pressure to put out there, regardless of the contract that he signs. And if they go in a different direction, there's going to be as much pressure almost on that new coach to say, because if you're saying, hey, one of the highest winning percentage coaches in NFL history, if you're moving on from that, like anything below that is now fireable in any given season. So it's a nuanced and complex conversation.
I kind of like that attitude, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I have, I don't know. I'm not a math guy. I know you're not a math guy either, Andy. But the Packers reportedly having 99% chance to win the Browns game and the Bears Week 16 game in the final 3 minutes. A 96% chance to win the Bears game in the final 6 minutes this past Saturday. To go 0-3 in those games, the math works out to 1 in 250,000 chance for them to go 0-3 in those games.
$1 at that point in those games and won $250,000. Wow, that's a good investment.
That's
I got to start betting against LaFleur.
The Twitter mathematicians helped me out on that one. Andy Herman, and follow him on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. I wanted to ask you, let's talk about who's going to be here next year then just from a player's perspective as opposed to a coaching perspective on this one. Some big names on the potential cut candidates, right? Whether you have Rashawn Gary on that list, Elton Jenkins, maybe Josh Jacobs, depending on how you feel about that. And they have some projected free agents here. Rasheed Walker, Romeo Doubs, Malik Willis, Quay Walker, Sean Ryan, and Kingsley Enagbare. How different does the Packers roster look? How many of those guys are coming back, do you think, in your mind? How many do you want to come back for this Packers team heading into the 2026 season?
Yeah, I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible because there's so many, and I think it's almost better to look at this position by position. Quarterback, Jordan's back. He's the core of the team, and then you're going to have to find a new backup quarterback. Malik will be elsewhere playing on a bigger contract with an opportunity to start somewhere. Running back,
Matt LaFleur.
Possibly.
Or
Maybe
Jeff
with Jeff Hafley. Yeah.
And
Running back, I think you're going to have Josh Jacobs back. I think that's going to be a restructure. I don't think that's going to be a release. And then I think you have two interesting restricted free agent decisions with Wilson and with Chris Brooks. I bet one of them ends up being back. And then you're going to hope like heck, Marshawn Lloyd can actually stay healthy, probably invest in something there as well. Wide receiver, it's going to be basically the same group, but Romeo Doubs will be gone. Romeo Doubs, if you need a wide receiver, probably a good investment. But when you already have paid Christian Watson for this year on an extension, have Reed Wicks, and just drafted Golden and Williams in the 1st and 3rd round, you just have to use that money elsewhere. Doubs will get a good amount on the open market. You'll get Kraft back. Musgrave will stay as the backup, and then they'll play around with the number 3 tight end position. Offensive line is the big one on offense that's going to be completely in flux. You know that Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton, and Zach Tom are going to make up 3 of those 5 spots in all likelihood. Aaron Banks, I think, is likely to be back, even though I think if you look at his contract, he shouldn't. That's probably another conversation for another day. I think they'll look at bringing back Sean Ryan. Rasheed Walker will be gone. Jacob Monk will have an opportunity to compete. Don't sleep on Travis Glover, who was injured all year either, for a potential competing spot. And I think they're going to have to invest in both some value free agents and some draft picks to try to get some competition on that line. Interior defensive line, you get Devontae Wyatt back. Everybody else is back in that spot. I think you need one more guy to solidify that next to Devontae Wyatt.
You need a Colby Wooden guy.
Yeah, make Colby Wooden the 3, Carl Brooks the 4, and then whoever you want is the 5, Warren Brinson, etc. End is interesting. You have Micah back. LVN will be back. The 5th-year option will be interesting. And then after that, you have a choice on Enagbare and releasing Gary. I think Gary's gone. Enagbare will be, I think, based on the number that he can get. If it's under 10, I think there's a chance he's back. If it's anything at or around that, I think he's gone. And then you'll have, guys like Brenton Cox is an interesting restricted free agent, but most importantly, Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver kind of taking the steps up as hopefully like the number 4 and 5 guys. They might need to find that 3 again, but maybe that's Enagbare or Gary. Inside linebacker, Quay is probably the most interesting one to me. I think that comes down to number. If it's around 12 or plus million, I think he's gone. If it's closer to 8 or 9 million, I think he's back. But I think that's one of the most interesting decisions of the offseason for Green Bay. Of course, you're still going to have Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, Edgerrin Cooper there. Corner, you have the Trayvon Diggs decision. It seems like Keyshawn Nixon wants a raise, and I think you are more looking at, do you want to save the $5 million? So I think that's an interesting one. Where do you slot Valentine and some of the other ones? Corner's going to have to be a big change, and then safety should be almost identical. McManus, the other one.
Need corner help. Need some corner help.
Anyone else see like the Eminem rap god aura over Andy Herman there?
The
while he was
coming out of the ears is
cooking.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
You want to get special teams?
McManus was the other one. McManus is the other one. You probably move on from that, or at least have the opportunity to move on from that.
Ooh.
How open would you be to Mason Crosby as a special teams coordinator in the NFL?
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, I'm open to you as special teams coordinator for the Packers at this point. I'm fine with any of it.
That's amazing. Right, I love that. Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL Pack-A-Day podcast, the absolute best. What else is on your mind? Not Packers related. Are you watching any of these other coaching openings? Are you going to get back into AEW? Are you watching the Bucks? Like, the kids got sports. What's going on with Andy Herman right now?
Yeah, this week and a little bit. This week's a big, I have to finalize my grades still for this week, and it's a big, kind of recap week, and you kind of wind everything down. And then next week is when things start to open up. I'll start looking at the draft pretty soon. I know Green Bay doesn't have a first-round pick, but I'm still going to dive in as aggressively as normal into the draft regardless, and it's going to make those 2nd through 7th rounds even more important for Green Bay. And then, I'll be keeping an eye still on NBA, pitchers and catchers report in like a month and a half. And
like February 10th.
Like a month.
Like a month.
Like 4 weeks.
We're close to that. Sports never stops. College basketball too. How about Wisconsin last night? How about those Badgers?
How about that? Those Badgers or what?
No one wants to see the Badgers right now. No one wants to see the Badgers right now.
Andy, do you have a Super Bowl matchup for us that you want to predict today?
I'm going chalk. Going in, this is I guess get to get both best of both worlds here. Going into the playoffs, I said Patriots Rams, so that is still on the table. But I think now I'm more leaning Broncos and Seahawks. I think that after watching some of these teams the first week, I kind of like the 2 teams that went in with the bye week. So I'm changing it up right now. I'm going chalk. I'm going Seahawks and Broncos.
It's going to be Patriots Rams now.
Probably.
Andy, how I think it's a terrible matchup for the Rams this week, and I'm nervous. I think that it's going to be cold, and I think Matthew Stafford is a Cali boy, and I'm just worried that we're going to have this for another week, Andy. I really feel that.
What would be the most satisfying way for the Bears to lose? Like
it's go to the Super Bowl, go up 40 and lose and then lose in the game.
Don't you think it's losing on the last play of the NFC Championship game where they're winning and then they throw like a Russell Wilson pick to Malcolm Butler?
Yeah.
Like that sort of like
I think
that's Caleb Williams is going in for the Williams is like going in for the win, and then they get like a 99-yard pick six to lose.
Okay, no. It's. I mean, we've had this, right? So it's a double doink in the NFC Championship game. A redo of the double doink would be amazing. Or it's literally the Brett Favre scenario, the Tracy Porter pick, like where
this is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Like that. Those would be the most satisfying result. Anything like that would be beyond satisfying.
Yeah, I think they're going to win this week.
They could, but that makes the heartbreak even worse for Bears fans. Yeah. So you're here for it, Tommy.
Yeah, I am here for it.
I just want to get nuked by 50 this week. Give me the nuke by 50. I'll take it.
Okay, just nuked at home by 50. Andy, you are the absolute best. Thank you so much for being part of the team all season long. I know you haven't given us permission to, but I'm putting you on the spot right now. When breaking news happens or anything big happens, you are first on our speed dial. So we will be checking in with you potentially sooner than later if there's coaching news to talk about. But we will definitely be catching up with you throughout the offseason.
I told Sparky, anytime you guys need me, just let me know, and happy to hop on at any time.
Yeah, God, he's the best. He's the best.
Literally, like I want my kids to grow up to be Andy Herman.
Yeah. That's what I always say. My big kids.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Andy, thank you so much joining us here on the Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Some great stuff there. And I think if you go that position by position for next year, Tommy, that was like gold.
I told you.
Literal gold.
That'll be the clip.
I feel enriched in my soul because he did that for us.
Yeah, I mean, and he enjoys that stuff. Yeah. He's psycho, man. He's in a good way, in all the best ways.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of texts that came in during Andy Herman responding to some of the things he said. We will get to your text next. We'll give some Badger basketball love and maybe a little Marquette basketball concern coming up next here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Tommy Wirtz, Mitch Nellis. We're all humans on a Wednesday. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. I'm Mitch Nellis. He is Tommy Wirtz. And if you missed Andy Herman, you missed at the end where I mentioned that I hope my kids grow up to be like Andy Herman. Mm-hmm. Well, there's someone in the 414 who texted in, I wish my son could grow up to be Andy Herman. Tommy, do you recognize that phone number?
That's my mom.
Oh, Mommy Tommy loves Andy Herman and loves Tommy, and she just wants the best for both of them.
Yeah, I think I would have to ask her. She's a big Dusty Evely fan.
Oh, yeah, Dusty brings energy.
She's also, I mean, how could you not be a Camille Davis fan?
Yeah,
and that's like the highest compliment ever from my mother.
You know what I was kind of bummed about? I listened to Locked On Bucks last night or this morning.
Yeah.
It was just Justin. And Justin Garcia is great.
Awesome.
But I was kind of excited. Like, I kind of like when it's Justin and Camille going back and forth.
I mean, Camille's one of the absolute best. Like, we'll get her on next week because it's been a while without Camille already, too. But yeah, I mean, between Andy, Camille, Dusty, we just have the best guests, I think, on the whole station. I understand how awesome everyone is and appreciate everyone giving their time always to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
But we have the best. And part of that is because the Andy Herman Show, the Pack-A-Day Radio, we kind of like poached some of his best guests to be our guys.
Yeah.
And we get him.
Andy Herman is the reason we have as many awesome guests as we have.
Jeremy from Racine texts in 414-677-1250. Your reaction to what Andy Herman said about Matt LaFleur, to what he said about who he expects back next year on the roster. He did an amazing job breaking that all down. Jeremy says LaFleur goes to Pittsburgh, takes Willis with him, like Pacino did with Fox in the movie Any Given Sunday. I've been talking about Any Given Sunday for 3 weeks, and Tommy can vouch for it because I told him to pull the clip. Whether it's LaFleur or Hafley, either of them get a head coaching job somewhere else, and they take Willis with them. It could be Miami, it could be Pittsburgh, it could be Vegas. There are a number of open quarterback spots with open head coaching spots where Hafley or LaFleur could end up with Malik Willis for sure. And then everyone's going to talk about Al Pacino and Jamie Foxx.
I always get confused. Like, I get confused here with like the question that was asked to LaFleur right after in the Sunday presser, right? Okay. Where it was like, do you want to be in Green Bay? He's like, oh yeah, right. You know, of course, right. Like the question, why would Matt LaFleur want to be anywhere else?
Right.
If Green Bay was an open job, it is the best job, and it's not even close on the open market. It's not even a discussion. Maybe Baltimore rivals it a little bit, but depending on how you feel about Lamar Jackson and his future, and how his play style is going to change in the NFL. After that, like the Falcons job, the Giants have a young quarterback, I guess. Like no one wants to go to Vegas. No one wants to go to Tennessee. Maybe you like Cam Ward, but the rest of the team is a dumpster fire around it.
Hold on, though. You're only examining one piece of the puzzle, and I want to add the second piece of the puzzle to this conversation, and that is compensation. Yes, Green Bay on the field is the best opening. But Green Bay on the field may not be the best compensated. If they're talking to LaFleur about $5 million a year and Vegas is talking to him about $10 million a year, yes, he wants to stay in Green Bay. Yes, he's going to win more in Green Bay. But 4 years for $40 million is a lot different than 4 years for $22 million.
Understood. And Brett brings up a point here, though. Does not having an owner make the job better, and I'll add, or worse?
Or safer. It makes the job safer. Like this organization, and maybe Ed Policy makes a difference, but this organization under Mark Murphy, and especially when Ted Thompson was there, was notorious for never making a move ever.
Yeah.
Ted Thompson was clearly negligent in his job post Super Bowl, but got to keep his job because everybody loved him and because he won one Super Bowl. And Mike McCarthy was kept for longer than people like. If this was another market, I think LaFleur's out. I think LaFleur's already gone. If we're talking about other markets, because Harbaugh's gone. Mm-hmm. Tomlin stepped down. Like this isn't the year of just the scrubs are gone. All time great coaches are separating from their teams. And guess what? Okay? for all the Matt LaFleur apologists, for all the national talking heads who think that he's great and that Packers fans are crazy for even talking about this, Matt LaFleur is not one of the all-time greats.
No.
Okay? He was 41-11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. All-time great start.
All-time great start. Probably, and I don't know, through the first 52 games of a career, that might be the best start ever.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt
38, 35-1 since then. 30, and that's 74 games. That's not insignificant. 38, 35-1. That is a 500 coach over 4+ seasons of 500 football. He is not one of the all-time greats.
No, and on top of it, that Matt LaFleur is this guy that you should be negotiating with or are going to negotiate. Like, how much room should you be giving yourself if you're the Green Bay Packers on fighting to get this guy to stay in your building when you read off numbers like that? Like, this is a guy that you're almost doing a favor, it feels like, in a way, to be remaining the coach of the Green Bay Packers. And it's hard for me to wrap around money when it's millions of dollars, right? If you're arguing to get 50,000 when you make 30,000, like, right. Yeah, that's a huge number.
That's a significant increase.
And, you change classes, kind of tax brackets, right?
Yep.
Once you're getting into like, do I need $4 million more or something? I'm like, well, I mean, I got $4 million. Like, how upset can I be about it, right? From a personal standpoint, understand that it does bring you into a completely different attitude, from a professional standpoint too at that level. But just for me personally, I still think that Matt LaFleur, if he wants to stay in Green Bay, he will make it work in Green Bay with whatever their offer is. If he wants to leave and go and chase some money and try somewhere else, maybe if he goes to Tennessee, Mitch, he has the longest leash ever, right? Because you'll see him as a guy who is, hey, we would love to be 38, 35-1 over the next 70 whatever games it was. That would be a dream in Las Vegas if that could happen.
414-677-1250 is the phone number. That's the Nicolay Law talk and text line. 414-677-1250. 920 writes in, I think Rodgers saved Matt's tushy so much at the end of games that fans don't respect Love for as good as he is. He just can't save the day yet like Aaron Rodgers could. Rhino says the Bears will lose by double digits, and Andy Herman will be happy. And 262 says, I've been stating this for years. MLF record is because of Aaron Rodgers. I could have coached those teams to that record. And 262, I don't know if you could have or not, but I kind of feel like we all could have. Like I feel like we all, the way Aaron Rodgers played. Now, I think Andy Herman made the point that Aaron Rodgers was like on the downside, and Matt LaFleur found some revitalization there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was that of, and I don't know if that was because of Matt LaFleur, or I don't know if Aaron Rodgers felt again a chip on his shoulder that he was being disrespected, or that he wanted to prove that he wasn't, it wasn't a Mike McCarthy thing, or that he could still do it. I don't know what all went into Aaron Rodgers' psyche at that time, but certainly when you look at Matt LaFleur, 41-11 versus 38, 35-1. These are two different universes that Matt LaFleur has coached in.
I have some mini news that I think I just want to tell you now so we can maybe pitch this for 120 tomorrow. Dante Moore going to stay at Oregon.
I saw that.
Yeah. And
what do you think?
I think it's one of the first cases we've seen of a guy choosing the money in college over the money in the NFL. This guy was going to be the number 2 overall pick.
Really?
Guaranteed.
Okay.
Guaranteed he's a top 2 pick in the NFL.
But he wants one more year of the college money before he has to do the pro money.
Well, it's Mendoza's going to go 1, right? And then the next team is also a necessary quarterback situation. Like
who is that?
Well, right now, so looking at the NFL draft order, let me pull it up right here. It was very heavily it was thought that you were going to trade up to get these top 2 quarterbacks because the Jets. Well, it's Vegas and New York, the two teams that need
the Jets.
The Jets, that is. Yeah. So the Raiders and the Jets both need a quarterback, like as their top need. They're going to move on from Justin Fields, and you're not going to rock with Geno Smith when Fernando Mendoza is there. So I just think it's
Arizona's
weird.
Down there too. I think
yeah,
Arizona's down there too.
Either way, they could have done it. And Dylan Raiola just transferred to Oregon, remember? Right. And he's going to be the backup. That's what they said.
Really? Can he change his mind there now, I wonder? That'll be interesting. I do also wonder if this is a way for more to avoid a situation? Is there, I'm looking at the 2026 draft order right now. It's Raiders, then Jets, then Cardinals.
Yeah.
Is he avoiding going to the New York Jets by doing this?
Sure looks like
is that a message that he's sending? 414-677-1250 is the phone number. Let's get up to Steve in Cudahy. Steve, you're up on the Mason Crosby Show.
Hi, guys. I'm a late listener in regards to today, and I didn't know you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening. What do you got for us?
And you guys I didn't know when you guys came back on board with the radio station Milwaukee. Anyway, with that being said, I think Floor is gone because a level of, there's the emotional thing because the way we lost. I think there's a pattern. And then when you have a pattern, you make decisions on patterns. And the more important type of a pattern is your expectation in playoffs. That being said there, and then point number 2, and I'll take my answers off the air, is I think the most glaring, and I mean glaring deficit on this team is the secondary.
Yes, specifically the cornerbacks, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, absolutely. I think you make a great point, Steve. It was they had players who didn't deserve to be on the field, like could not play NFL football playing in that secondary this year. Yep.
And that Nixon just puts the team in such a detriment. He's more of a liability. You must not even have him. I mean, you must just put my cat that I rescued on the field. She can do better. I mean, really.
Love your cat. Yeah.
Well,
Steve,
I mean, I'm exaggerating.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. They were awful. Steve, I totally agree with you. You're absolutely right.
They have to go out and get talent, either drafts or free agency.
They need a free agent. They need a free agent who can come in right away.
If they're on the team, I'd be really like, wow. I mean, really, they're still on the team, regardless. Whatever. But that kills me. You guys got to think about it quick, and I'll let you have other callers. Is that 4th and 8? It's reminiscent of the 4th and 26 with Philly and some other plays. That the secondary. The last time we had a really good secondary was Leroy Butler and that other guy that got injured with the neck injury. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah, Nick Collins.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's only
that
one
Super Bowl secondary. With that, and with Tramon Williams, with Al Harris, there have been
Charles
good
Woodson,
players. Right. We've had a good secondary. Charles
But
Woodson.
I mean, after that, forget it. It's been garbage.
Yeah. Steve, thanks for the call.
Thanks, Steve.
And he's right. That is a position 1,000% they have to go after. And it's going to be really frustrating to do that because they just signed Nate Hobbs to a 4-year, $46 million deal, thinking they had somebody at that position. Clearly was not the right fit. We will come back, wrap things up here, get things ready for Sparky, Wisconsin Sports Daily, coming up next. This is the Mason Crosby Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We are broadcasting, as we do every day, via our friends of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wrong mouse. Why are there so many meese back here? So many meese. Man, Van Halen always gets me. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. My name's Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. Tommy, you feel good about that sweatshirt, bro?
No.
Yeah.
Do you know a fun fact? This is not my sweatshirt.
Why is it? All right. First, tell me why that's fun. Yeah, it's not a fun fact.
I've actually worn this sweatshirt so many times, and like my freshman year of college, I had a roommate who needed to borrow a pink
Did you
shirt.
steal a mattress from your roommate back in Boulder?
He's still my roommate, so it's fine.
All right.
But no, I mean, he needed a pink shirt, I needed a Bucks sweatshirt, and we just traded, and we've never traded back since.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, I love it. The Bucks are only a game and a half out of the 10 spot, so that's good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Out of the play-in. This is the 7 seed argument all over again.
It is. The Bucks losers last night to the Timberwolves, 139-106. The Badgers winners last night, 78-75 in Minnesota, led for much of the game. Minnesota hits a 3 with 4.6 seconds left, I believe it was, to tie the game at 75. John Blackwell nails it at the buzzer and then runs away from everybody. Great highlight if you have a chance to catch that on YouTube or wherever you catch your shorts. And Marquette loses last night to St. John's, 92-68. Thanks, sir. Q writes in, Doc Rivers still has more championships than little Matt. He's also coached for a lot longer. When Matt LaFleur gets to Doc Rivers' number of years, we should put a note on that. How many? Nothing really going on tonight. Tomorrow, Milwaukee, UW, Green Bay, and the Bucks all in action. Marquette on Friday and the Badgers on Saturday. Basketball season. Now that the Packers have lost, basketball season has started. Right here we are.
Nice.
Yeah, we're
pitchers and catchers in a month.
Yeah, I think it's February 10th. NBA trade deadline February 5th. All the things to look forward to. Let's look forward to all of them. Let's look forward to Mason Crosby tomorrow on the Mason Crosby Show. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy and Thunder, let's go. And tonight, 5 to 7, Hot Stove Weekly with Tommy and Timmy.
I was